So let's talk about the lotus and the butterfly. And before I start, let me just say it's very windy outside, and I am not willing to close the window because it's rare that I have this nice of a day because I live in the desert and it's starting to get into the hot season. So I'm leaving the window open, and it's my hope that it won't be too distracting hearing the leaves blowing in the tree outside my window because I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Um, all right. So again, I'm Sandy Daly, or the Reverend Sandra Ann Daly, depending on what you would like to call me. Um, and this website is created for and directed to victims of domestic violence. And that's basically what I'm addressing with everything that's going to go on this site is going to be addressing that subject. Although, having said that, let me say this is all material that can be applied no matter what you're struggling with. It doesn't have to be domestic violence. It doesn't if you feel like you're a victim of anything, the material being presented on this website is totally applicable to you. So you don't have to be a victim of domestic violence to be here, and whether you are or not, welcome. All right, so the lotus and the butterfly. These are ideas that can be applied in any situation to help you deal with the situation in a more empowered way. That's the whole idea. So, the lotus. The lotus blossom requires mud. If you have no mud, you can't have the lotus blossom. And the same is true in life. The lotus begins as a seed that has a very, very, very hard shell. And if you're going to grow it, if you're going to grow it in your garden or whatever, you can help it along by scoring the shell on the outside of the seed to help the moisture get in there. But in the wild, it's a seed with a very hard shell, and that seed requires wet mud. It requires the mud if it's ever to blossom, right? So it has to sit in the mud, and this is a metaphor. So what does the mud in your life look like? Has it got lots of fertilizer in it? Because you can look at it that way, and you can see as you look at it that way that it actually does serve you. Because here's something to know about the lotus. The blossom is inherent in the seed. So the seed requires the mud if the seed is going to germinate. And then the seed sprouts, and the sprout moves its way up through the water, and then the bloom happens at the surface of the water. Well, hello, apply this in any situation that you feel like you're struggling in, and you'll find it helpful if you can get the metaphor. So my life feels like shit. It doesn't really. I'm just using this as an example. So let's just say that something in my life feels like shit. It's fertilizer. It's fertilizer mixed in with the mud that is helping to soften the seed. The seed is the idea of the life that I actually want. If you can have an idea of the life you actually want, the life you actually want is the bloom. And the bloom, the blossom, is inherent in the seed of the idea. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. And this can be applied in a domestic violence situation. This can be applied with a health situation. I'm applying it diligently myself with what's going on with me right now. It can be applied in a work situation or a school situation, whatever. The seed of the idea. What's the idea? What's the new thing that you want? What's the new experience of your life that you want? That new experience is the blossom. The blossom is contained in the seed. It's inherent in the seed. The seed can't exist without the blossom, and the blossom can't exist without the seed. It's the process that's required. The process of growth is what's required to bring forth the blossom. And that's where our work is. That's where our work is. We got to let it happen. We have to let it happen. And it will, and it does. Sometimes we struggle against it, and that's no fun. But we do it because we don't know that we don't have to. You don't have to struggle against the process, but you do have to go through the process if you want to experience the blossom. Okay, so that's the lotus part of this in a nutshell. The butterfly part is, and it's the same, pretty much the same principle. The butterfly can't exist without the caterpillar. So you're living a little caterpillar life that's limited to what you know right here. The life, the leaf is the size of the life you know as the caterpillar. So you're stuck on this leaf, and some of our life leaves are big, and some are really, really, really limited. If you're in a domestic violence situation, it's pretty damn limited, I'm sure. So that's your caterpillar life. But something to know about the caterpillar is that the butterfly already exists. The butterfly already exists within the caterpillar. It lives within the structure of the caterpillar. The caterpillar gets a calling. And the way I use the word calling, there's a capital C on it because I'm talking divine. It's a divine calling to become something more. So it spins itself into a chrysalis. All right. And a lot of people think that the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis and takes a nap. And that is not the case. That is not the case. The caterpillar feels the divine calling to become something more than what it is right now. It spins itself into the chrysalis, and then it goes into complete chaos. Complete chaos. So much chaos that it becomes liquid inside the chrysalis. And from that liquid, the butterfly is formed. Okay, so the thing about the butterfly process begins as a caterpillar living a little caterpillar life, spins itself into a chrysalis because it feels called to become something more than what it is as this little caterpillar. It goes into chaos inside the cocoon. The liquid becomes the butterfly. But when it's time for the butterfly to come out of the chrysalis, it has to struggle. You can't help it. It can't be assisted. You can't cut the chrysalis open for the butterfly to help it come out, because you can watch it. This poor insect is struggling and struggling and struggling to get out of this cocoon. So the natural instinct, sorry, I'm shaking my camera. The natural instinct for someone with compassion is, oh, I want to help it. I want to help it. So you get the little scissors and you cut open the cocoon, and the butterfly will die. It can't survive because the struggle is necessary. The struggle is necessary if the butterfly is to live as the butterfly. It needs the struggle, because what happens is, as it's that liquid, it gets formed into the butterfly, but the body of the butterfly before it struggles its way out of the cocoon, is full of that liquid. It's full of that. It's bloated with that liquid. The process of struggling its way out of the cocoon is what pumps the liquid, the blood, from the great big body into the wings. It's that process that makes the butterfly the butterfly. It has to go through the struggle. The struggle is necessary. I myself find this encouraging because I know that I can look at any aspect of what I'm experiencing in my life. If I'm having a hard time with something, I can roll a die. So there's three things, three for the lotus and three for the butterfly. You got seed, sprout, and blossom. You got caterpillar, chrysalis, and butterfly. So sometimes I'll have somebody pick a number between 1 and 6, or I'll roll a die, and whatever number it lands on between 1 and 6, that's the aspect of this process that I go to. So if it lands on 4, that would be caterpillar. So I can look at my life and I can see the caterpillar life if I'm in number 4 of the process. I can look at it and I can see, okay, this is my caterpillar life. I'm being divinely called to become something more than what I am right now. That's all. It's not anything I have to take personally. In fact, it's something that I can rejoice in. That, oh yay, oh goody, I get to move into a life that's bigger than this little leaf life that I'm living right now, or whatever. Pick a number between 1 and 6 and apply it in your circumstance and see what you come up with. Because you can apply any one of these and it'll work for you. It'll work for you if you understand it. So the butterfly struggles its way out of the cocoon, out of the chrysalis, pumping the blood from the great big body out into the wings. You can see the butterfly on the wall behind me. So you can get a visual right there. I'm sorry it's not more in focus, but you can see that it's a butterfly. And it's actually a butterfly that's sitting on a lotus flower. So it pushes its way out, struggles its way out, becomes the butterfly, and it sits there on the twig or the branch or whatever, and it lets its wings dry. And when its wings are done drying, it flies. It doesn't, this is the difference between how the butterfly does it and how the human being does it. Because the human being will struggle its way out of the cocoon, and it'll sit there waiting for its wings to dry, and then it'll still sit there, he or she, thinking, what if I can't fly? What if I can't fly? What if I can't fly? What if I only think I can fly? What if I fail? What if I leap off this twig and crash and burn? And then we never move. The butterfly doesn't even think about it. It just flies. And here's a point that I really, really, really want to make. The knowledge of how to fly is inherent in the caterpillar. Just because the caterpillar hasn't become the butterfly yet doesn't mean that it doesn't have the knowledge of how to fly when it comes time. So think about that when you think about your life, when you think about changes that you would like to make or the person you would like to become. The person, if you can think of the person that you would like to become, that's the seed. And it's the blossom. You're doing it from the place of the caterpillar, and the butterfly is inherent in what you're thinking about the becoming of something more than you are now. So, it's a metaphor. Sometimes people get metaphors and sometimes people don't. I happen to love them. There's this and there's one other that I will share in this material, in the metaphor format, everything else is straightforward. There's no ambiguity, there's no la foofy stuff. It's all very practical, it's all very straightforward, and it's all very useful in the moment, in the circumstance, in the situation, in whatever's going on. So please don't base your opinion of my material on this particular recording, because this is not typical of what I usually present. The rest of the stuff, except for that one other thing, is straightforward, practical, useful. So again, this is Sandy Daly. I'm the author of 3 books, and my first book is called Choose Your Universe. My second book is called Pop Your Paradigm. My third book is called Successfully Midair. The one I'm working on now doesn't have a real title yet. And I'm also working on Pop Your Paradigm is no longer available. I'm in the process of revising it and making it. I'm so happy with how it's turning out, and I'm looking forward to making it available, and that'll happen shortly. So my other website is chooseyouruniverse.com if you want to check it out. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. You can find me. There are buttons on this page. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. I look forward to getting to know you. In the meantime, have an awesome day, if you choose to.